I wanted to do a new recording, even if I have done some recordings very tight to each other. But this is a subject I have in my mind that come to me in the night, in the morning. On Facebook, I have God told me. People don't like when they hear or read that you say God told me, but it is what it is with me, because I'm so close to God. So He talking to me, and He's told me for about, maybe this year was it at least. He told me that I should make friends to Jewish people, and especially those rabbi, those leader for the Jewish and Jewish tradition. And I did that as God told me to do it. And I also make friends to not only Orthodox Jewish, ordinary Jewish born people, and what is called messianic believe, and some other. But mostly I was looking for those preacher, the book knowledge, Jewish old man. So I have as really pretty much people that is rabbi. And one special, he is very much into write on Facebook. So and I know that it have something that God want me to know about, and it's I know it's because I have so much Jewish in my DNA, and God want me to learn about all these rules and laws they have in the Jewish tradition, and it's very hard to know them if you are not born into Jewish tradition. Is it hard to understand what they are talking about, and why are they look like they look like, with these black coats and black hats and those kippis, I don't know what if it's called, these small hats they always had. And it's very hard to understand, because I think it's very complex things that is hard to learn. But I want to learn about it. And many of these things, most of these things is law and rules for men and not for women. So sometimes men are going angry at me because I write something on the post and I am a woman and I should not write. Women, it's interesting when going into those religions that they are the same. This Orthodox religions is very close to each other. to not let women speak and hide women in their home, and they can only go out with a man with them. They can't go out by themselves. Some of these Orthodox Jewish men allowed their wives to go out together with other women. But if they are really into Orthodox Jewish, there is only men that can go with them. And it's the same with Islam, the Muslims. People talk so much negative about Islam, but they don't see that it's the same with many religions that is Orthodox, of the old style, doing the same things that have been done in thousand years ago. And for us, that is a modern people. I am modern people. I'm an outgoing personality, and I have always. I was born to want to know the truth. I was that already as a child. I didn't accept anything that have not coming to me in like a personal revelation for me, that I can understand and see and hear things that is for me to understand. And I am not a group person, so I can't be in religious groups, because if you are in religion, that means that you have the same thoughts and same beliefs, same faith as everyone else in the group. And I have not looked at myself before nowadays that I have never been in a group. It's not only that I was forced to be by myself, but I felt a comfort to be on my own. And I know that because my daughter, when she was a young child and was in the first years in the school, she had no friends, and the teacher come and asked. They were worried that she was by herself, and they talking, what should we do with your daughter? Rebecca is her name, because I know already when she was in my womb that she should be an international person, so she needed to have a name that was international, that everyone could speak, pronounce, and this. And she have the name spelled in English also, Rebecca. And I knew that when they come, the nurses come, and I was laying in the hospital for 2 months because I have had so many miscarrying before my daughter, so they were careful with me and measure what's going on in my body, and I will have to lay still because I have this poison pregnancy, that you can be poison in your body with high blood pressure and urine that is not clearly, and all this wrong in the body, and so it could be miscarrying. Like I had miscarrying about 15 times, miscarrying. So I wanted very badly to keep this baby inside me. So it was okay for me to lay almost like a dead person in the bed. I was not allowed to walk up, and I was not allowed to watch television, and I was not allowed to listen at the radio. I should only lay in the bed in the darkness and lay there and wait for my daughter to come. And when they come, the nurses, to measure the heartbeat of the baby, and my daughter was very move around, and she like float away when she felt this machine started to measure her heartbeat. And I said to my daughter, said, "Don't be worried, Rebecca, relax. We are going only to measure your heart." And the nurse was very often, they asked me, "Do you have already a name of the baby? You don't know if it's a boy or a girl." That's what they do here in Sweden. You can get the answer, but I was fragile. It was close to miscarrying, and they don't do these things. It's not necessarily. You will see it when the baby is coming out, if it's a boy or a girl. And they say that you don't even know if it's a boy or a girl. It can be a boy. No, I say, I know. I carry a daughter, and her name is Rebecca. And they ask, and I say this, her name is spelled like Rebecca. And they say, why not Swedish spelled name? And I say that this girl is going to travel around the world, and she's going to be an international person. I say to them, and they shake their head and walk away. And it's come true. I knew it. And that's how to be a prophetess. You know things that you should not know. And my daughter, she was with me to Texas. And I'm thinking, if I had named her a Swedish name we have these 3 letters that is different from the English letters, and if I had named her a name that have these strange Swedish letters in it, it should be hard for her to be in the school in Texas to help the teacher to spell or pronounce her name. But I named her Rebecca, and that's what her name is. And so my daughter had the same inside her like I had. That sometimes the teacher and we ask her, why are you not together with the other girls in your class? And she always say, I have nothing to say to them. She said they are only talking about doing makeup and talking about boys. So I have no common with them. she was a deep thinker. She is when she was a child. She was so very smart. She a very intelligent girl, and she know better than me about doing web design and computers, and she know all the flags in the whole world. And I'd be surprised when we were to like a festival, a place, and she sit there in her stroller. She was about between 2 and 3 years old, and she pointed out people, and she said that I heard how they were talking, people, and she pointed out she is from Finland, she is from England, she is from United States, sitting and pointed out, and what's going on with her? And but I understand that she pick all the languages up because we had a satellite disk on our house when she was a child, and we had 4 satellite discs, and in that time there was no limit. It was not that you have to buy a card to put in to watch. It was free. It was open from the whole Europe. So she, without we knew it, she picked it up when she heard it and saw things on television. And she remembered how the languages sounded like. And she told me. I'd be so shocked. She was so... I had no problems with my daughter when she was a young girl. And then in 2000, when God came, and she was with me, and she was with me when God was come and talk to us. And I didn't know for many years that she didn't heard God. I thought she was in the room, but she didn't heard God. But she heard me talking to when this higher priest that I thought until this year that I thought it was Jesus Christ, but it was a higher priest. It's different. And she heard when the highest priest had people with him, and one was my own father on earth. And I talked to him. I didn't see him, but I heard his voice. And it is very strange that I knew it was my father. Without I didn't see him. I only heard his voice, and that I remember his voice. It was very strange for me. I understand when he started to talk about what he wanted me to forgive him for what he have done to me in the earthly life. And when he asked me, then I got confirmed that it was my father, because he was describing what he was doing here on earth when I was a child. And so that first time there, in 2.5 hours, God and the highest priest was in my home. It was like everything was in a package. it was everything in that box that I didn't understood in that time, but I know it now, and I can go back and think about it, and then I find out. But that was already said for 22 years ago. This is year 2022, if you are in another time, listen. And so when the highest priest was there and talk, and I don't think my daughter heard the highest priest. I think she heard me talking only. I think that's why she don't understand even today what was going on, and she don't understand me, or else I have had her with me in this what I know. But she is in Jesus. She is in a church where Jesus is God for them. So she is far away from my experience now, my knowledge. She don't have. She come not forward. The devil took her and separated her from me too. And so she never could go forward like I have done in my knowledge. And but when after that evening, when the highest priest come and God come, next day my daughter ran after the school. She was going immediately to a church, and she signed in to the Lutheran church, to the youth group. And even if I was not religious or believing in God, I was happy that she did that. So I had it inside me, this with God, to be close to God even if I didn't know him. And she was in this Lutheran church for some years, and until I left Sweden, and she had to go back to her father and stay with her father, and she come to be in another school. But after that day when the highest priest come to our home, and my daughter go into the church and be in a youth group, she was changed. She was changed, and could have been educated like I have been educated. But I had to go away. I had to leave everything. So I couldn't be with her to help her in her process. I had my own process to do. But when she was coming to the school after that evening, immediately she got a friend. There come a girl. She told me when she come home from school, today it come a girl. She have just moved in. She is new in the school, and she started to talk to me, and we are friends now. My daughter told me, and I'd be very surprised. And then on the other day after that, it started to come more and more and more girls wanted to be with my daughter. They didn't see or I understood, but their spirit understood that something had happened to my daughter, and she pulled people to her, and people ask me sometimes. They ask me why she's so loving and kindly person, like not a normal person is. But it's this what she got from that evening when the highest priest come. They gave her some gifts, but when I left Sweden, I had to leave everything, and my daughter go to another school, and she go in the wrong direction. She go to a school where this church have this school. My daughter, I left out something, but I want to tell you that my daughter first she left the basic school and should go to this higher school, and her school say she was the only student that was going to a special school, not disabled school, for a special school for very intelligent kids. And it was most of those children that was in her new school. They were from wealthy families, and we were wealthy, but they were from nobles and royals family, so they have that money in generations. So they have this other education to be grow up in these generations of nobles and royals family. And then the summer of 2002, my daughter come to and visit me in the United States. And then she had been with this Lutheran church that summer of 2002. She was with the Lutheran church to France for a conference for youth conference. And then when she come home, she was driving with her father going down to south of Europe to Italy and Spain. And in Sweden, maybe in other schools, in other countries also, the teacher asked what they have done on the summer vacation. What have you done this summer? And they ask each of these students, and my daughter told the class that she had been to United States, and then she was to France, and then she was to Spain and Italy with her dad. And they envy her. They go so envy her, even if they were wealthy. It was that they had not done so many things that my daughter had done. So they start to mob her. She was alone again, and no one wanted to talk to her, and she had been used now to have people that talk to her in her class. So she didn't want to go to that school anymore. So she told her father that she she wanted to go to a Christian school because there they are not doing this bully other kids. They are loving and nice to each other. So that's how she come to this church that she is now. She have been there for 20 years, and they don't. I don't see them loving because they don't treat my daughter as they should. She is like a slave for them. She baking, cooking food for them to earn money, and she have to pay for her room. She live in one room, and she work hard many times, many hours per week, and don't get any paid. And so she have all these gifts given from God in 2000, and they have never wanted to have that. She should show the church her gifts. They know her gifts, but they break her down, and they have killed her. They have killed the spirit in her. And I can't do anything because they have brainwashed her now, so it can be dangerous to say anything to her to change her life like that. So I have to give up and let it be like this and focus on my life. Focus to stay in God's plan and come to God, to his throne room again, where I was before I come to earth. And so these Jewish people, I have hard to understand and accept what they have in their rules and laws. Many of them is very strange for us other that is not Orthodox Jewish. It's very strange, but I was married in Texas, and my husband, I'd be surprised that I find out that he had been, this word is very hard for me to say, circumcised. They have cut him when he was a baby, but his parents was not Jewish. It's something that I found out when I was in Texas, that they do it very much in the United States. We don't do that here in Sweden, and it's against the law to do that on babies here in Sweden. But of course, they travel away from Sweden and do it anyway. But it's not allowed here in Sweden. And there is no problems with to clean, for men to clean themselves without to have been cut. It's a lie, an excuse people have that is for to cut children in their skin, and it's for me it's emotional, very hard for me because I love those babies so much, and then they do that to them, and then also knowing God. I know God doesn't do mistake. And you say maybe that he do mistake because there is babies that be stillborn, and there is babies that have disabled. But that I have talking about in other episodes, that these children they are born into this world to test people around them, test their parents, and they it's that they so many people when a child is born with being very disabled, not have function in their brain and these things, they go and blame God, and they hate God, and some people go away from God, and that's a test how they react on what they have been given from God. They have been given this babies to see, and when the baby is sick and all these problems they have with the children and babies, and they go angry and are negative and these things. And I'd be happy when sometimes I watch on television and read, and I see that people don't go angry at God for what they have got. No, instead they started organization. They go in to help other people that have these problems in their life with babies. They created something positive to make it, to help other people because of their problem with the babies they have got. And that's what they should do. So that's a test, how people react. And God doesn't do mistake. It's a lie. It's a lie from the devil. It's a lie to excuse this man to cut in the foreskin of the baby when they are 8 weeks and older, and they say they don't feel anything, but they can't lie for me about it, because I know the brain. You know, I have talk about that, how much knowledge I have with the brain, about the brain, and everything, even in the birth moment, a child carry it with them for the rest of the life. In some situation can it pop up, and they don't know why I react on these things. Why do I do it? And it can come so far back at it can even be in the birth moment. They have got something that scared them and make them be confused later in life. So this about to cut the foreskin, it come with a package of mental issues later on in life, and but in everything, it's I accept this man's culture and tradition. Even if I don't understand and I think it's cruel in many things, it's not that I am not a person that go around on the street and demonstrate and go angry and fight with the police and say, I have right and you are wrong. I'm not that kind of person. And that's one reason why God picked me to be his child, to help him on earth here. And so that in the circumstance that is not about the skin. God, God is a spirit. So God, when he's talking, it's never about the body. God is not talking about the body because he's spirit and he talked to our spirit and that he talk about the spirit. Then can those spirit that is coming to us here and talking, they can talk maybe about the body. But I don't think they have done that. You that have listened at all my episodes where they are coming and talking, have they ever talk about your body? And it's me that have talking maybe sometimes about the body, but when they are coming, I don't think they have talking about the body. So that's not something that the spirit need to talk about and care for. They don't care for your body. They care for what's inside your body. They can talk about your body, but what's inside your body, the heart, your brain, that's what they can talk about. I don't know, because I have hard to remember what the spirits are telling me. I don't even know what they are saying just after. If they have talking, and I think I know, I remember what they are saying, maybe 20% of it. I know a little what they are saying, but I think it's in the beginning when they are talking, and when just before they are leaving. But there between there, when I am really into the spirit, there I don't remember, because they go into my body and they take over my talking. So I don't registrate what they are saying. So I don't know. So you know if they are talking about your body. It sounds maybe weird for many of you, but that's how it is for me. It's so many people that think it's a fake or a theater I do, but it isn't. It's sometimes it's a little confusing for me that they are coming, and I don't understand it really, but accept it. That's what I do in many things in life. What I have how I have survived everything is that I accept what's happened. I accept it in that time it's happened. And I was born that I'll be raised of my mother to say, if as a child, if I fall and hurt myself and it stopped bleeding in my knee, and I was crying, and my mother always say that to me, why do you cry? It have already happened for you. And I know that some people have had that kind of mother. So you know what I'm talking about. Why do you screaming like you do? That have already happened, so you can stop now. It was not that she hugged me and loving me and comfort me and these things. She only told me that stop crying, stop screaming. And then I have to stop then, because it felt worthless to do these things, because there were no reaction from my mother to do it. So in that way she learned. She teach me how to go very quick over things that happened to me. I was raped in United States, for example, and I have not taken that with me, because that have already been done. So why should I carry it with me? Only when I talk to you, no, I say it, but I not think about it at all, because it's already done, like my mother say. So it was very hard. It have been my whole life that if something have happened, and then someone wanted to know what happened with you, what have happened with you, and then I don't remember. I don't remember what was before I be hurt, why I have this bleeding on my body, and I can't tell, because I have already forget it, because I was trained to do it. So I am thinking about if there is something more to say. You know that circumcision, the cutting of the skin, is not about the skin. It's not about the body. It's about the flesh. The skin is flesh. The body is flesh. It is to cut off some part of your flesh, the nature in you, to cut it off, your nature in you. It's what it is about. It's not about to cut the foreskin of the baby. It's about to cut off that nature in you, the skin, the flesh, the body, to take that body away, so you be more a spirit person than what you are in your flesh. That's what it's all about, and the circumstance is about your heart. The circumstance is what's in your heart, and how to circumstances to change what is not good, what is you need to cut it off, not cut off the heart, but cut off the error, the mold part of the heart you have in you, that you, the Spirit is answering me here now. It's very hard on me now because something the Spirit love me to say. And I was on my way to say, you were born with a clean heart. You had a pure heart as a baby. But almost immediately when you were born, there you were added. It was added to you those things that make your heart mold, make your heart shrink, make your heart be error in it, and see things in a different way. The little child, is very open. It's very open and it's suck in knowledge. But very quick it can take in wrong things into their mind and especially into their heart. So that it's about circumstance. And Abraham, that God was saying to him this covenant between Abraham and him. Abraham, he was 99 years old. He was not a baby. And he was not to be concerned to be a father anymore. He was old. And so that make it no really sense to say that a baby boy, when it's more than 8 weeks old, should be cut off the foreskin. It's this lies that men come up with because they don't know God. If they know God as a spirit and not a man, then they should understand that what God is talking about, what God was talking to Abraham about, it was the spirit in Abraham. It was the spirit of Abraham's children. And then it come Jacob, and Jacob become Israel. And Israel is not a country. Israel is a nation. This was God was talking to me for some years ago, many years ago, and he said to me that Jacob is the commander for God's army, and he is the God's army is not the country Israel, it's the nation Israel. A nation is a people. It's not a property with a border around it. The nation is people that have the same interest and want to know more. That this is the nature of Israel, Jacob, Israel, is people that bleeding for to know God much more and want to know God. That's the people, and God's army. It's with the army is continue holds those people that have passed the test here on earth. That's why it is a test here on earth, because God wants to see who is the survivor here on earth. So in that way it can't be evil enough, because God need to see who is the survivor. And those that have survived many things from people, they will be in the army. Jacob is the commander, and Israel is the nation, the army for God. God's army is it, and it will come in the last day when they are going to take out the devil from the earth. And the devil have a big army. He have more army, bigger army than what God have. But it doesn't matter, because those people that is in the devil's army, they are weak. They only go with the flow, and they go for those that they think are those that go into success. And as soon there is going to be show weakness in the army for the devil, as soon as it's going to be some kind of weakness, they are going to leave the army. They don't go with the flow anymore, because they be scared. And they are not, as they are not in this foundation on earth, they are like parasite here on earth. So they can't stay firm. They can't. They split up and run away. And then is it that way where God's army gonna win? It's a very weak army the devil have compared to God's people that have been in so much, and they know all the tricks that the devil have, because they have experienced it and survived those tricks the devil have done for to kill them, and they have not been killed. So they know those lies. They know the truth. They have been get this light on them, so they see things that people normally not see. But they have got these eyes, and they have got the ears to hear with. That is not from the nature, it's from God, it's from the Spirit. It's those eyes and ears. So that's it's not Israel is not a country, it's a nation, and the lineage of Jacob, but not in the lineage as we know it here on earth. It's those that adopt Jacob to be the one that they want to learn from, and they want to be in his army. That's the people of God's people, God's army, and Jacob is the commander for this army. That's what God have taught me. And that's what I wanted to say, that I don't believe in circumstance of the foreskin. And I have so hard to accept. I can accept it as a culture thing and tradition things. That I can accept, but I can't accept it in my heart. Because it's not true what they interpret. So it doesn't matter if I gain enemies and people that hate me, because I want only to tell the truth. I want and I will be in the spirit and truth. The spirit is the truth. God is a spirit, and that's truth. Thank you for listening, and I hope I teach you something, and the spirit is on me now. But he told me that he is breathing some energy for you now in the last minute of this recording. He said to me that he don't want to talk. He said that he's breathing the energy to you that have with the things that like this weakness you have in your body and in your mental, in what was destroyed inside you from the start when you were a child is going to heal back to you and not and be a healing of what you had when you were born. What you had inside you when you were born is going to come back to you. The Spirit is telling me now this. But he doesn't want, it's a woman, it's an angel that is here. She's showing up now. So that's, she's saying to me to tell you that she's sending energy to you.